Good morning, friends. This video is meant for everyone, particularly for class 10 students who are appearing for board exams. Friends, the title of this story is The Letter, written by Dhumaketu. This story reveals the irresponsible behavior of the younger generation towards their parent and insensitive nature of the hollowness of the society. The main characters of the story are Coachman Ali, a seasoned hunter who later on turns into a loving father. Miriam, the only daughter of the coachman Ali, who got married and went to settle in Punjab with her husband who was in army. And then the postmaster, an arrogant and insensitive person who later on realizes the feelings and emotions of Coachman Ali and undergoes the same pain of separation of his own daughter. He realizes Ali's feeling. This story is about Coachman Ali, who who has been going to the post office after the marriage of his daughter Miriam just to receive information about his daughter. He has been going to the post office in the hope of receiving a letter for the last 5 years, but he never received any letter. Every early morning, whether it was in winter or summer or any other season, he walked from his house, going through the town to the post office and sat in the veranda of the post office listening to the noises coming from the activities performed by the post office officials. Every day he went early in the morning and sat there the whole day in the hope of receiving a letter from his daughter. The post office employees were so callous and insensitive that they often mocked at, made a fun of him, calling his name, and watching to see him jumping from his seat and coming to receive his daughter's letter. They made a fun of him, laughing at him, and equally insensitive was the postmaster who was so callous and so arrogant that he didn't consider him as a loving father, often called him mad. Ali has become quite habitual of going to the post office every day and sitting there. The post office clerk even called him a madman. For several days, Ali did not go to the post office. He was sick, but nobody bothered to know what actually made him stop coming to the post office. Everybody wanted to know that why he's not coming to entertain them. But one day he came back after a gap of couple of days and went to the postmaster requesting him to register the address that he wanted to get it registered for his daughters. And first he asked about Miriam's letter. The postmaster, as usual, an arrogant person, scolded him and told him to get away because the postmaster was in a hurry to go out. So he didn't listen to Ali's request. Ali was breathing last. He breathing very fast. Perhaps he was sick. It was perhaps his last day at the post office. Meanwhile, he saw a clerk, Lakshmidas, who appeared to be a little bit kind. He requested Lakshmidas to receive 5 golden guineas that he took out from his pocket and handed over to him on the request that if Miriam's letter comes, he should make it reach his grave because he told the clerk, Lakshmidas, that after that day he won't be able to come to the post office. Perhaps it was his last day and he would not be alive there to see the letter. So he requested Lakshmidas to put the letter of Miriam at his grave after his death. And then everybody forgot about Ali for several, months, almost 3 months. Nobody asked or inquired about. Then what happened that the postmaster's daughter was sick in another town, and the postmaster himself was waiting for his daughter's letter, quite restless and being in anxiety, he took a letter which was an envelope, colored envelope, which appeared like the letter from his own daughter. He snatched the letter from the clerk and just thought that it was a letter from his own daughter. But quite surprisingly, when he saw the address, it was written to Ali's address. The address was given to Coachman Ali. Then the postmaster realized that this was the letter for which the old gentleman had been coming to the post office for the last 5 years. He underwent the same pain of separation that Ali had undergone for the last 5 years. He realized the pain of separation, and all the feelings and anxieties of a father who had been waiting for knowing the information about his daughter for the last 5 years. He regretted, but it was all in vain. The letter was addressed to Coachman Ali, but he had seen Lakshmi Das talking to Coachman Ali on that day. He asked Lakshmi Das, yes, Lakshmidas just was busy. He couldn't reply anything. Next, the whole night, the postmaster could not sleep. He was he was filled with regret and anxiety. He was undergoing the same feeling of separation, the same feeling of pain and separation that the postmaster had undergone for the last 5 years. The whole night he went on thinking. Early in the morning, he went to the post office. As he opened the door, he saw a figure like Ali knocking at the door. He opened the door and just, handed the letter of Miriam and said, "Come, Ali Bhai, this is the letter of Miriam." He handed the letter. Meanwhile, Lakshmidas came to the post office. He asked the postmaster who he was talking to. The postmaster said that he was talking to Coachman Ali, who came to receive Miriam's letter. Lakshmidas told the postmaster that he was mistaken. Ali died 3 months ago, and that really surprised, the postmaster. The letter was lying on the floor. The postmaster took the letter, and along with, Lakshmidas, he went to Ali's grave, put the letter on Ali's grave, and thereby he fulfilled the wishes of the gentleman. So there are three things that is being reflected in this story. The first one is love and faith. Ali had a deep faith and love for his only daughter, who got married and got settled in Punjab, and whose information he was waiting for. And for that, he had been going to the post office for last 5 years. He had a deep faith and hope in his daughter's love that made him go to the post office every day. The second part of the story reveals the callousness, the hollowness of the society, how the society is hollow as far as the feelings and emotions are concerned. So the behavior of the post office employees shows the hollowness of the society. And third one is that every one of us is bound to suffer the pain and separation of someone who is a beloved of us. And the same pain and separation can be felt in the heart only when we are in the same position. The postmaster could not realize the feelings and emotions of Coachman Ali, a loving father, unless and until he himself was placed in that condition. So this clearly suggests that it is bound we are bound to suffer the pain and separation of someone who is our beloved, and this feeling cannot be really in the heart unless and until we are placed in the same situation. When the postmaster waited for his own daughter and was in anxieties and pain, he realized the pain and pain of separation and anxiety of another father, that the coachman. So he felt regretful and guilty of not being responsible to his duty, and he then regretted. So the fact is that every human being is bound to suffer the pain and separation of someone in life, and this is the reality. And so the story beautifully compiles the feelings, the emotions, the faith and love that every human being is governed by. And on the other hand, it also compiles the fact that the society is quite hollow. At one hand, the younger generations are not very sensitive to look after their old parents. On the other hand, the loving father is always bound to suffer the pain of separation of his children, and that is what the story talks about. Thank you. Have a nice morning.